See, we read it in the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter. Okay, but the Most High set it up to where at the same time Jacob, which is the righteous, was born. Okay, you had soon after, furthermore, Esau. You had Jacob born right after Esau. Okay, all right, and Jacob was the righteous one. Okay, and Esau was the wicked one. Okay, and when you read in the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, it tells you that wasn't of works. Okay, that wasn't of the decision that they have done or the righteousness that they did. That was dealing with what? The predestination that the Most High has prescribed to him. He was going to have it to where one was going to grow up being wicked and doing all kind of wickedness. And when he's going to have the power over the earth, he was going to destroy it. Okay? That's why he's known as the harbinger of death. He was, the scripture says in the book, was it Malachi, the 1st chapter? Okay? Where they shall be known as the border of the wicked. So I'll get right quick. All right? It's the book of Malachi, the 1st chapter. Right, Malachi 1 and 4, it says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, okay, but we will return and build the desolate places. Because guess what? When you go into the history, right, dealing with King David, and he basically had that. Was it King David or Jehoshaphat? I forget which king it was specifically, but you had it to where Edom. Okay, the land of Edom was destroyed, man. Right, and you had it to where all the males within Edom was supposed to be being killed off, man. In other words, it was known as a genocide, man. Okay, but the Most High allowed it to where what? To where that line of the Edomites still exists within the world for what? For this time period that we're living in now to exist. Okay, all right. So you had it to where the Edomites coexisted, but see, at that time when their whole land was impoverished, okay. Right, that's what they were saying within their heart. They said, "Look, whereas Edom say if we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places," and that's the spirit they came in right now, man. Right in the times that we're living in right now. So you got it to where Esau out there, he went out there, he built up America using the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans as his instrument of doing so. Okay, and they've done what? They've returned and built the desolate places. But see, here's what the scripture says. Okay, whereas Edom said, if we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build. So the Lord was going to allow them to build. Okay? Just like how you had it to where in the book of Mark, the 13th chapter, you had the prophets come out to the Lord and they say, look, Lord, look what manner of stones these are. And the Lord responded cold. They said, look, all of these stones that you see, okay, they ain't going to be left one brick on top of another, man. Going to show you the Spirit of the Lord was coming. He wasn't coming to send. He said, look, the next time I'm going to come, all right, I'm not going to come peaceably, but see, the disciples didn't perceive that was going to be, they perceived that the kingdom was going to come then, okay? That's why they said, when shall these things be, man? And they said, you're going to have to, in fact, I'll get it now. Instead of quoting, this is the book of Mark, the 13th chapter. Now go back onto the point I was making. So Mark, the 13th chapter, 8 and the 3rd verse, and it says, and as they sat on the Mount of Olives, right over against the temple, Peter, James, and John asked them privately. Furthermore, let me read from the 1st verse, and he says, and as he went out of the temple, right, one of these disciples saith unto him, Master, see what manner of stones and what buildings are here. Okay, so they was, you had it to where the temple had been rebuilt underneath Zerubbabel. Okay, I believe Haggai was involved in there because Haggai just means festive. Okay, so they were celebrating the temple being rebuilt, and that was underneath the sanctioning of Darius and Cyrus, the Persians, okay, because the Medes, okay, had pretty much played their time, and the Persians had come up underneath them because Darius the Mede had conquered Babylon, and you had it to where Cyrus was involved, in over that, but ultimately he was the one that sanctioned for the Jews to go back home, right? And he set it up to where money was given to where they rebuilt the temple. So the temple, in them period of time, okay, right, in that 300-year period of time, was it 300 years? Right, about 400 years, okay, from the time of the Persians, the Medo-Persians to the Greeks, okay, and then you had the Romans. So 400 or 500 years, you had it to where you had Jakes coming back into the understanding of who they, what they're supposed to be doing. So when he was in the temple, that was a very, that was a very emotional time, if you will, for certain ones of the that understood the history. That's why Peter, James, and John had said the things that they were saying. Look what manner of stones these are, man. Okay, this is the response that the Lord gave him. It says, and Yahweh answering said unto him, see us these great buildings. okay? They shall not be left one stone upon another, okay? All right, so that's dealing with all of them dealings that they were seeing at the time, man. Okay? Okay, and he said, and as he sat upon Mount Olives, on the Mount of Olives, rather, over against the temple, Peter, James, and John asked him privately. Why did they ask him privately? Because they was hastening the day, man. Same thing any brother would do in his truth, okay? If the Lord was on the scene and said, look, they ain't gonna be left one stone upon another, we're gonna rebuild this whole thing, man. Okay? All right? Did you ask, hey, Lord, we ain't gonna do these things? Okay, so that's the same thing the brothers had asked him. Okay, when are these things gonna come to play, man? When you gonna execute these different things? All right. So it says here, all right, and Yahweh answering them began to say, take heed lest any man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. Right, but when you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, which is the times that we're living in right now, we're living in the times of wars and rumors of wars. Okay, you got this, that, and the third happening, with Russia and Aleppo. Okay, you got this, that happening out there within the Middle East. All kind of rumors of wars and wars, man. But ultimately, the war is going to be between Russia and America, as the scripture says, for how the Most High is going to put hooks within the jaws of Magog and Gog, which is the modern day Russians, and he's going to bring up against Babylon, which is America. Okay, that's exactly what's going to happen. This big World War III is going to be.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
All right, man. Cool.
You got any blood?
All right. So this whole war that's going to take place is going to be predominantly against Russia, which is going to be allied by Iran and China, okay, and against everybody else, man. Okay, that being America, right, England, right, Italy, right, which those are, like the scripture says, those are the that's the clay right there, okay, because this kingdom was going to be a kingdom of part iron and part clay, meaning you're going to have strength like America and England and so on and so forth, and you're going to have weaknesses like the places like Italy and so on and so forth, but they're still going to take arms against Russia, China, and Iran in this third world war, okay? And it goes on to say here, when you shall hear of wars and rumors of war, be ye not troubled, for such things must needs be, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise up against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes and famines in diverse places. These are the beginnings of sorrows, man. So that was just going to be the beginning of sorrows. Why? Because you're going to have it to where you're going to have what's known as a nuclear winter, okay? Right? So you're going to have perpetual famine. Hell, the scripture goes into saying it's worse to die by way of hunger than it is to die by the sword. What's the modern day sword? Those ICBM nuclear missiles, man. Okay, so when them missiles hit, you're going to have it to where you're going to have instant death, man. Okay, but you're going to have it to where people, by way of the nuclear winter, they're going to be what? They're going to be just left out there, man. Right, to hunger and wither, man. Hell, you had it to where, as accounted in the book of Lamentations, after the sword had come, okay, after the Babylonians destroyed the whole of Jerusalem, you had it to where Esau, they burnt down the temple and so on and so forth. After all of that had played out, okay, you had it to where they were still jakes out there, and they were living and they were hungering, okay, to the point that you had women, basically killing their own kids and making stew with it, man. Right, because of the soul hunger that they had, and that's the same thing that you're gonna have, just like how they show you in that movie, The Road. Okay, that's what you're gonna have happen to all of these people, man. Because when you have a drop in how society works, okay, and you don't have it to where you got shipments of food coming from X, Y, Z, and so on and so forth. You're gonna have what's known as a grand famine, man. Okay, you're gonna have what's known as a great famine, man. Okay, right? Because why? Because this you got metropolises and so on and so forth. Where are the people gonna get the food? Right? Because the farm is halfway across the country, halfway across the world. Okay, well, how are they gonna get the food? Well, guess what? They're just gonna starve, man. All right. That's why people are gonna be. That's why people are gonna be insistent that Esau sets up this RFID chip so they can return to when the monetary system, when they crash the monetary system, they're gonna be asking for the RFID chip to be implemented so they can carry on, living how they lived before, man. Okay, they're gonna be asking for the RFID chip so they can go back to going to the supermarket and buying food and so on and so forth, man. Okay, right? But see, when the nuclear missiles come, all of that's gonna be out the window. There's not gonna be no RFID chip that's gonna take you out of that situation. There ain't gonna be no Federal Reserve note that's gonna take you out of that situation. You're just gonna be starving, man. Okay, you're just gonna be starving. But the scripture says what? It says the man of the Lord is gonna eat. Okay. The man of the Lord is going to be eaten. And also, too, it says the man of the Lord is going to be delivered from that situation, man. Okay, so when those missiles hit, you're going to have to where, you're going to have them UFOs and so on. They call them UFOs, but it's just a chariots of luck, man. The history has told you about that. You go out there into them, into some foreign country out there with some ancient culture, okay, and they go a flying instrument, and the flying instruments, chariots, and so on and so forth, and the thing's supposed to be written, things supposed to be drawn 400 or 500 years ago. Well, you're gonna ask yourself, what is that, man? Okay, and that's all accounted within the scriptures. Okay, let's get back onto the scriptures. The book of Mark, the 13th chapter, and I'll go back onto the point I was holding in the book of Malachi. Okay, Mark the 13th chapter on the 7th verse, it says, when he shall hear wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must needs be, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise up against nation, kingdom against kingdom, earthquakes in different places, and they shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrows. Okay, so getting back onto the point I was making within the book of Mark, Malachi, the 1st chapter. Okay, all right. Scripture says here, Edom saith, we shall return and rebuild the desolate places. But see, the Most High allowed them to build for a period of time. But you're seeing within the scriptures, okay, there was going to come a point where all of that's going to be destroyed, man. Okay? All of them things that they had built up was going to be destroyed, man. So you got it to where Esau's out there in these different countries building up skyscrapers, okay, building this building, okay? And it's not just building in the physical sense in terms of putting bricks to mortar, okay? It's also talking about building their agendas, man, okay? Right, the so-called New World Order and all of that. That's all things that have to be built. Okay, that's all things that has to have work. Someone has to labor for that. All right, someone has to labor for that. But see, even dealing with the so-called New World Order, the Lord said what? When he's about to fill his belly, right? The Most High is gonna have it to where he's gonna cast all of that he has profited out of his mouth, man. The scripture talks about when he's up in the fullness of his sufficiency, shall he be in straits. Okay, meaning to say what? When he's about to accomplish that New World Order, he's going to be in difficulties because what? You're going to have it to where you got the prophets of the Lord popping up all over the place, pushing this work, man. Okay, basically making people aware of the fact that they're dealing in the background. That's why the scripture says what it says within the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter on the 1st verse, which is what I'm going to get in a second, man. All right. How the nakedness of Babylon it should be made bare, man. Okay, right? All of the iniquity, right? All of the wickedness that the Americans committing, that's being brought forth to light, man. Okay, you got all kind of people. You might be at a job, okay, and the same day Trump got elected into office, you'll be on a job. All right, and you get sent a message. Somebody says, "Look, this is what they had predicted, X amount of years ago. We're going to show you that they planned for Trump to be in office, and the people in office are already talking about that. Now, why is that? Because the Most High is allowing for this truth to be pushed forth out there. Okay, right? Certain basic things about this, about how Esau deals, that's being brought forth, man. Right? Freemasonry, all of that. Illuminati, that's everybody knows about that now. That's not even a conspiracy. That's just something that's accepted. In fact, when you watch the movie, it's a movie by Robert Downey Jr. And it's called Charlotte. The first one that they did, they showed you how them different governments work, man. Now they threw their own spin into it. But ultimately, they showed you that all of them different governments is set up by what? By way of witchcraft. They're all into orgies, witchcraft, and all of that, right? Blood sacrifice and all of that, which is not a surprise because that's how the ancient Canaanites has grew up. And all of this system is just how the Canaanites did their thing, man. Right? As a certain brother had pointed out, I believe it was Joshua Wamba that had pointed it out, they're doing it in the way of the Canaanites because they went into the history and they studied how Jake went off in the past. And Jake went off in the past by what? By following the Canaanites, man. Right, so it's not that he holds these Canaanite gods to some kind of esteem. He just knows that if he pushes that agenda forth, right, the agenda of Nimrod, the agenda of Babylon and so on and so forth, if he pushes that forth, that the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans is going to jive with that spirit, man. And they're going to accept that because they did the same thing in the past, man. Okay, so and they were destroyed by way of the same thing, and they were going to be destroyed by way of the same thing right now, man. Okay, that's why the scripture says within the book of Isaiah, what was it, Micah 2:10, arise ye depart because it's polluted, spiritually polluted, right? It's going to pollute your mind, it's going to pollute your body, all of that, man. Okay, it's going to pollute you even with a soul of destruction, man. Okay, to the point where you're going to be destroyed, man. Okay, man, hey, that's why the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans is bugged out because Esau has orchestrated, okay, a spiritual attack, a physical attack, okay, a mental attack against the people of the Lord, man. Okay, everything that they read about is destroying them. That's why that's why you had it to where and they know they're destroyed, man. Okay, they know they have accomplished the destruction of the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. That's why they will have a meeting, okay, all right, about how people feel about, I don't know, Trump getting in office or something like that, and you have some astute so-called Edomite, right, come up in there, someone of esteem, and represent the beliefs of of Esau. But when it comes to Jake, they'll bring out some rapper from Atlanta or something, and he's supposed to represent the views of all the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans out there, man. That goes to show you that they know, not only have they destroyed the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, they know that they've destroyed the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. But ultimately, it goes on to back onto the Spirit of the Lord, where He said, "Look, their body's gonna be dead within the graves for 3.5 days." Okay, but ultimately, the Most High is gonna put the Spirit upon them, to where they're gonna rise up out of that dead state. They're gonna be quickened, man. Okay, they're gonna become alive, and that's gonna be a fearful thing, because they've orchestrated the destruction of the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans for hundreds of years, man. Okay, and in one sweep, the Most High has turned that on his head, man. Okay. In one full sweep, the Most High has turned that on his head, to where you got camps popping up all over the place, man. Okay, the truth about Esau coming out, becoming prevalent. Everybody knows the truth about Esau now. Okay, for the most part, they just don't know who Esau is, man. Okay, or when you go into the scriptures, they know there is a wicked. They just don't know they don't know how to connect the dots, and that's where the men of the Lord come into play. Because we connect the dots. Okay, you know that there's a wicked within the scriptures. Well, that's that guy. Okay, that's that guy, and he's in the power seat right now. That's why everything's all out of course, man. Okay, so back within the book of Malachi, the 1st chapter, and the 4th verse, halfway through, it says, "And they shall build, Baal throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness." So they're known as the border of wickedness within the scriptures, because why? Because when they always consistently increasing their borders, man. Okay, in which your border is your boundary. Okay, the scripture says that he increases his desires as hell. Okay, so his borders, his boundaries are ever exceeding. Okay, but the scripture says his borders. What does it say? It says they shall know them. They shall call him the border of wickedness. So as he increases his boundaries, his borders. Okay, so does his wickedness. Okay, all right. So now you got it to where you got people out there in Asia. They're following the philosophies of Esau. Okay, you got people out there in India. They're giving up their Elamite, history. They want to be Esau. Okay, you got people out there amidst the Arabs. They've given up their Arabic, which Arab just means mixed, but really talking about dealing with Ishmael. Okay, they've given up their Ishmaelite heritage, right? To be what? To be more like Esau. Okay, and it all goes back to money. It all goes back to money, because why? Because if you're like Esau, rather okay, then you're going to be more accepted by Esau, and therefore he's going to do dealings with you and so on and so forth. That's why the scripture says within the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, like I pulled out before, okay? That's why it says what it says. It says all the merchants of the earth they're going to mourn when Babylon, when America is destroyed. Because why? Because the monetary system, the way they got their money, is not going to exist anymore. Okay, you ain't gonna have little Indians out there in sweatshops making money, making T-shirts to send over to America. That's gonna be a done thing, man. You ain't gonna have to where people out there within China gonna be making money, because what? Because they're sending all of them, all their craftsmanship out there to America. That's gonna be a done thing, man. Okay, so you're gonna have to wear what? A new system's gonna be implemented, and that's gonna be with the Israelites on top, man, as it should be. Okay, so Malachi 1:4. And says, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation against forever. Because it goes back onto the point I was making. Okay, they got this new film coming out, War of the Planets of the Apes, right? Which is basically the war of the planet of the Israelites. Okay, all right. And they said, this whole, everything in history has led up onto this point. Okay, and that's the same thing they're going to be bringing upon see, they showed you these things in the movies first. Okay, but now it's gonna be manifested. It always manifests and plays out upon the earth, man. Okay, same thing. You had it to where certain events happen, and they show you in these movies, like the 9/11 thing. They showed you that in the movies before it happened. Okay, right, and they show you different things like Terminator, Judgment Day. That shows you the World War III, and they got that straight from the scriptures, man, because they know that's an event that's gonna take place. But what they're saying is that what they want to do is escape from that. Okay, they want to survive the so-called judgment the Lord's going to come and put upon them. Ultimately, they're going to do so. Okay, to be the first fruits of captivity. That's why the scripture says how that the elites of Esau, the noble of Esau, are gonna bow their heads down to Jake, man. Meaning to say they're going to survive that, but only to survive that to be their first fruits of captivity, man. Okay, so back within I wanted the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter. Okay? Right, to show you the history of what's being played out upon the earth right now. And in showing you the history, you're going to understand what's going to be the future of that. Okay? So in Genesis, the 25th chapter, right? And this is the 21st verse, okay? Because all of this has been set up from the foundations of the earth, okay? All right, having that to where you got one group of people that's the wicked and one group of people that's the righteous, and how they basically gonna clash together, man. Okay, so the dude was right in saying that how they gonna show you they did how all of them points that happened in history have led up until that point, okay. All right, but see what they're probably gonna depict in that movie is some kind of form of truth or whatever. But ultimately, that's not what's gonna happen, as you're gonna see within the scriptures, man. All right. So Genesis 25th chapter on the 21st verse, it says, "And Isaac entreated the Lord for of his wife, all right, because she was barren, all right, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived, all right." And it says, "And the children struggled together within her womb, all right, because Esau's spirit ain't right, okay." It says the children struggled, and then Jacob's spirit is off the right. So spiritually, they didn't connect, man. They couldn't coexist in the same place, and that goes to show you, man. You got Lord Jacob out there. They wanna shake hands with Esau and be in a state where they're at peace with Esau. But you can't do that. The scriptures tell you here that didn't happen then, and you ain't gonna have it to where it's gonna happen now, man. Okay. So it says, "And the Lord said unto her, two nations are in our womb." So you're gonna have it to where two nations, Esau, right, which became the father of the Edomites, and Jacob, which became the father of the Israelites. Those two nations were in Rebekah's womb, man, fighting against each other even at that stage. Okay, so it says here, "It shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people."